The Administration and Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 is called to order at 8:18 p.m. We've already had silent meditation and Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call, Chair Nickerson.
Here.
Vice Chair Martin.
Here.
Member Erbaum.
Present.
Member Perella.
Here.
Member Lightfoot Ward. Also present for the record, Janisha Kobe, Village Clerk, Christia Liu, Village Manager, Joseph Geller, Village Attorney, and the CFO, Chris Wallace. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate Madam Chair. I appreciate that. Next is approval of the agenda. I have a deletion, which is G2, Village Manager PTO. We didn't get all the information in time, so I'm going to move that to probably January's committee meeting. All right, so
Say that again?
G2, we didn't receive all the information in time, so I'm taking that off of this agenda, and I'm probably gonna move it to the future committee meeting in January, probably. So,
Mr. Mayor, that's your discretion to do. I'd like to see us all discuss it in executive session based on the fact that it is kind of dated. The present agreement is very dated. I'd like the special meeting for the executive session to discuss it.
you're talking about the contract itself,
Yes.
Chairperson, but we're not discussing the contract itself. We're not discussing changing the contract. This is just about the PTO portion of the contract.
Well, that's my point, that the whole contract needs to be looked at.
Well, we can bring that up at a later. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilperson, you can't do it in executive session because you could only do that for pending litigation or for negotiations with a labor union. You can't do it just to talk about the manager. So you can have a special session, but you can't have an executive session.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Chairperson. Councilperson.
I don't know how
Lightfoot
Attorney
Ward.
Geller knows how to get in my head, but that's what I wanted to bring out, is that we need to do this so it's fair to the manager. And I am sincere about that. And he just told me the remedy. I just didn't know which door to open. That's all.
Yeah, so we can discuss, and what we can do, we can go through the clerk if we want to do a special session
Yes.
later on. But what this item though is G2. This is specifically about the manager's PTO,
Which means?
which is the paid time off. And in her, in her contract, like we did it last year. In her contract, every year, depending on how much vacation time she took, we either have to take her vacation time and we have to pay the amount of the vacation time that she didn't take, or we have to move the vacation time. We have to decide what we're going to do with her vacation time that she accrued in the year. Now, we were like 2 years behind previously, and then last year we paid out only half of her earned PTO. So we have to address what we're going to do about her PTO because we're like a year and a half behind on her PTO. And it was just that item out of her that we were going to address. It wasn't the entire contract. Like I said, we can contact the clerk and we can do a special session about the contract as a whole if we want to do that. But G2 was specifically about her vacation time that she did not use this for the past year and a half. But we don't have the exact numbers right now, and that's the problem. We were trying to get them, but we got the numbers last week, but they were not correct. So we were waiting to try to get the numbers in, the correct numbers, so that when we make the decision, we're making the decision based off the correct numbers. So that's the reason why I wanted to move it.
If you want to defer, you can just defer.
Yeah, we're doing approve of the agenda. We're doing approve of the agenda, and we have to approve the agenda with either this on or this off.
You have to get into all the reasons.
No, I understand what you're saying. It seems like I have to.
Mr. Mayor, I do hear you, but this manager is just too valuable for us just to address one. We will do the PTO at the same time, because I just heard that, man. I had no idea that they owe you still, that we owe you still. I had no idea. But the rest of the contract is what I'm talking about. When I read the contract, and the end page still shows the wrong attorney, and the wrong mayor. I was undone with that. It just undid me. We're more progressive, and you certainly have worked your whatever in this job, and we owe it to you. That's not something that you should have to come to us. The fact that we were given it, somebody should have said, what? We need to update this whole thing and still pay you what we do you. But this is, I'm embarrassed for you. And I just wanted to let everybody know that. So that's why I'm asking a special session, I don't care what it looks like, but that we take this whole thing into consideration at one time.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda striking G2?
So move.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin. Appreciate it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none. Moving on, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 14th?
So move.
Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Farrell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Moving right along, good and welfare. Anybody want to come up right now? You have 3 minutes to say whatever you want to say about the agenda items. Just say your name and address for the record. I am seeing and hearing none. Moving right along, agenda item G1, the vice mayor position discussion. Should the position be voted for by the residents on the ballot? Should be voted for by the residents on ballot. All right, so you guys know right now, this is the reason why I put this in, because I didn't know what you guys wanted to do. This is something that throughout my years as vice mayor, I brought it up twice, but both times I lost that vote by one, by one vote, because of the council that was made up back then. And so what it is that right now the way we choose our vice mayor is that, you know, we have our elections, we have the mayor seat, and then we have the 4 councilperson seats. And then once we, you know, get elected in, the council chooses the vice mayor seat. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but the problem is that, you guys, I've been on the council for a long time. And throughout the years, you know, it just so happened that, you know, prior to me being mayor, you know, I was vice mayor for a while, and I just happened to get along with everybody, basically, on the council. You know, all sides that disagreed, I just happened to get along with everybody. So, you know, I was chosen as vice mayor. But prior to me being vice mayor, there were other vice mayors when I first got on the council, when I was a council person for years. And there were a lot of problems back then, you guys. And the council was very political back then. Right now we have a wonderful council, but all of us are not going to always be up here. And I'm just trying to prepare for if El Portal ever has another political council in the future. Because the way it used to work was this, and I was on the council, so I've seen it. The way it used to work was the vice mayor seat was such a political seat because since the council votes in the vice mayor, it would be like, so let's say, for example, if, you know, I wanted to be vice mayor, and I went for, you know, I put my name in to have a vice mayor. It would be like the individuals who voted, like who would vote for me, would then want me to vote all their items for the remaining 2 years where I were on council, because they're like, well, you're vice mayor because I voted you vice mayor. And then let's say if I wanted to be vice mayor, it would kind of be like if, you know, I was never like this, but if I wanted to be vice mayor, it was like if I lost by 1 vote, then I'd be mad at the person that didn't vote for me as vice mayor. I wouldn't vote for none of their stuff for the rest of the 2 years. That's how I used to be. So when I was even vice mayor, I brought this up twice. It failed by 1 vote both times, but I was like, you guys, let's just take the politics out of the vice mayor seat. The residents vote for the mayor seat. Let them vote for the vice mayor seat. That way, nobody can complain. If you win vice mayor, great, the residents wanted you. If you don't win vice mayor, the residents didn't want you. It's not the other council people. You can't get mad at them and not vote for their items for the rest of the 2 years. So I just want to take it out of the politics. Like I said, I tried to do this twice before, but back then we had, you know, kind of political councils, and like I said, I lost by 1 vote both times. And the thing about it is that the good thing about it is that just like, you know, I'm suggesting that we let the residents choose the vice mayor in the future. So it would just be, the only difference would be we have the mayor seat, the vice mayor seat, and 3 council seats on the ballot every 2 years, whatever we vote, whatever. the good thing about it is, on top of that, is that even though I'm suggesting this, we're not even the ones that are going to make this decision, because this is a charter change. So it has to go to vote for the residents. So it would be the 2022 election on the ballot. Would you like the vice mayor's seat to be, to be like how it is, chosen by the council? Or would you like the vice mayor's seat to be chosen by the residents? And the residents will vote when they come in to vote for their state senators and everything during the 2022 election. If we vote that we want it to go through, it would have to, we would vote right now through committee, and then, we would vote through council, like we do everything else. If we do that, then it goes in the ballot in 2022. If the residents want to keep it to where the vice mayor is chosen by the council, they can just vote it down, and everything stays normal. But I want to at least give the residents a chance to voice their opinion, because, like I said, it's good now and things just been good, but I've been there when it wasn't good, and it wasn't pretty at all. And I'm just worried about political things like this in the future, because you never know what type of council El Portal might have 10 years from now, 8 years from now. You never know how it might be. So that's all I'm trying to say. But anyway, I'll open up to the council, vice mayor, council committee. Well, let me go, Vice Chair Martin, because you're the vice chair of this committee.
Sure.
So I'll go first, and then I'll come to you, council vice mayor after her.
So yes, I will take that. I only have one question. Is there any sort of increased cost associated with adding an item? Is there a cost?
Yes,
Madam Clerk?
Yes.
For the question to be on the ballot, each question can go from $2,000 to $3,000.
Okay.
I now also, it has a time frame, so I have to make sure that you're gonna have to have 2 readings for this. And I also have to make sure that you make it in time for that election.
Okay.
And it's usually early on the
Okay.
year.
So that sways my idea on this, just because there is a cost associated with it. Is there any interest in just having it be random? I know there's certain cities that the vice mayor position just rotates and they're selected either randomly or by tenure. I think maybe that might be something that we could implement without having to go the route of, I don't know if we would still need to do a charter change if it's stated explicitly that the vice mayor.
Yeah, we would still need to do charter change. So right
Okay.
now in the charter, it states
It states
that
explicitly
the vice mayor is chosen at the first council meeting by the council after the election.
by the council. Does it say how? Could by the council be,
It's just by
Random?
a show of hands.
Yeah, it's by majority vote. That's how we.
but in the charter it doesn't, and maybe that doesn't matter.
It doesn't say,
Attorney Geller?
it just says by
Yeah.
the council.
So it says by the council. It doesn't speak to whether or not it has to be by a show of hands or a random selection. Could by the council be interpreted as just like a random selection? Okay.
No,
There's an open
the fact that it says by the council, it basically just means it has to pass the same way anything else passes,
By vote.
like a resolution or anything else. Because we have things that say, what requires a minimum of 3 affirmative votes, what requires just a majority if there's a quorum present. So it's basically the same as
Majority.
passing
Okay.
anything else.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess the $3,000 spend, I don't know if I would want to spend that
Yeah,
for
I
that
hear you.
reason.
I hear you.
Because I'm not really sure, I guess, what the significance of a vice mayor is, but I don't know if the $3,000 is worth it for
It's
me
worth
at
it.
this point. But that's just my thought. I'll let you guys chime in.
No, I hear you 100%. Thank you very much, Vice Chair Martin. Vice Mayor Urban.
Yes, so I certainly sympathize with what you're saying in terms of your past experience before you became vice mayor and then as vice mayor, because I certainly don't feel like I did anything extraordinary or special to receive the title. And so I have, it was a surprise to me, other than the fact that at the time, I found myself as still a very new member, the second most senior, right? And so it could be that the vice mayor is appointed by seniority, for example. And then really, as I think about this, my question becomes, okay, well, what additional responsibilities or what additional benefits would there be to being vice mayor? And truly, the only thing I can think of is that the vice mayor is the liaison to the tree board, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just jump in really, really quickly, Vice Mayor Urban. the vice mayor, when you first became vice mayor, you had to give your information to the manager. So let's say if I go on vacation or if I'm absent or whatever, like you have to deal with the finances of the village. You do have to deal with
You've been such a
finance.
reliable mayor, I haven't had to think about that. So,
Yeah, you have to deal with the finances of the village. You have to sign off on
That's very
finances of the
true.
village. You have to sign off on contracts of the
Okay.
village. So
okay.
the vice mayor is an important seat in the
Okay.
absence of the
Well,
mayor.
so that I become even more
You
appreciative
used to sign
of,
a lot. You
right.
used to sign a lot.
Right, so I'm immediately more appreciative of the job that you are doing, Mayor Nickerson, because I really have not had to think about that at all since I have been vice mayor. So that is very true. So there is additional weight of responsibility. There is the fact that we decided that the vice mayor would be the liaison to the tree board. And then, all things being equal, assuming that there's a reliable mayor in place, that the vice mayor is not really called on with any frequency to do those tasks. The tree board, again, as a liaison, I'm not even a voting member on the tree board, right? And so all things being equal, then what might the only benefit to being vice mayor be? Political benefit, right? In terms of having access or things like that. So I think ultimately I would be in support of having some mechanism where the public does have more say in who is vice mayor. So I wrote down here cost benefit. So if the cost is $2,000 to $3,000, but that saves us from some scandal in the future, right? Because it sounds like that's what you're talking about, Mr. Mayor, is the idea that, okay, fine, it's fantastic that the five of us get along now, but the next group of five, whatever that may be, whenever that may be, as has been evidenced in the past, may not be in the same, agreeable spirit of working together, right? And so would $3,000 be more beneficial than the cost of the drama associated with future scandal, right? And so for me, I think that $3,000 would be on the cheap end of dealing with a future scandal. And so, then at this point, my only question becomes, would the public understand what the benefits and or responsibilities of the vice mayor be, so that anybody choosing to run for that seat, because in this format that you're discussing, a resident would choose to run for vice mayor, right? Not a ticket like mayor, vice mayor, right?
No.
So you're selecting the vice mayor seat to run for,
Yeah,
right?
just like somebody selects the mayor's seat.
Right.
Like you choose to run for the mayor's seat, you have to choose to run for the vice mayor's seat.
Right,
That's
so, in that regard, I do see a direct long-term benefit of mitigating scandal that could save untold amounts of drama and cost, right, both financially and in that drama tends to prevent things from getting done. And so, in that, I think if the public understood what the role, if they have a way to understand what the role of vice mayor is, to know what they're getting into, essentially, right? Then I think it would be beneficial to have that structure. I think, in addition to that, I think if we accomplish this and put it on the midterm ballot in November of next year, that honestly that would having something like that on a ballot, I think increases turnout. People become curious about the ballot and actually increases turnout, and increased turnout is always most beneficial to the public. And so I think that would be a benefit specifically to next year and having people come out and vote. Additional engagement in terms of, so you have the mayor seat that certainly you might have, a couple people specifically want to go for. Then clerk, any seat, all 5 seats, the person selects that seat to run for. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
You
And
have
so-
5 minutes.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll be done. And so ultimately, I do agree with what the mayor's saying. I think there's a long-term benefit to doing this. I'm sorry, I had coffee just a little while ago.
No, thank you very much. Did you cap yourself at 5 minutes? Is that what you
You
said?
see, yeah.
Did you cap yourself at 5 minutes?
No.
Oh, well,
She's got me.
you can talk as much as you want.
No. She's right.
There's no-
I'm 2
there's-
minutes over, and all I've done is repeat for 2 minutes.
It's all good. There's no limit to those on the committee
No, I
can
appreciate
speak.
it.
Yeah,
can
sure
speak
there
can,
is.
can speak as much as they want, you guys. There's no limit. We don't do that here.
No, when I've only repeated myself for 2 minutes.
No, you're
she's
good.
great.
You're good.
She's
But there's
great.
no limit. I just want to say, just officially, there's no limit to anybody on the committee. Let me say really quickly. I do agree with Vice Chair Martin as far as cost goes. I would like to, and let me just say this procedure wise, if we do decide to push this through, vote this through the committee, it would have to go with 2 readings at the council level. And then, like I said, it would have to go, and then it would have to go to the ballot to be voted on by the residents. But for example, if we decide that we want to do something about this and we push this through committee, if we change our minds, because you guys, when things are pushed through committee, if you feel like once it gets to the council that you've changed your mind, you could change your mind to no and vote it down at the council level. And this one right here, if we push it through committee, it not only has to go to one council meeting, but it has to go to a second reading at another council meeting before it even gets to the ballot for the residents to vote on. So what I would like to do is, if this can get voted through committee, that before it goes to the first council meeting and even the second council meeting, but before it goes to the first council meeting, that we have the clerk reach out and get the exact amount that it's going to cost, so we have that information, so that when we go to the first council meeting on this item, that we have the exact information to make our decision.
And deadlines.
And the deadlines to make our decision, because we might not be able to make it because of the deadlines, and we might, it might be at a cost, much less than we think. So I would like to get that exact cost also, as far as like how that's going to go. That being said,
Mayor,
If I may,
Yeah.
for a second.
you got a.
Yes,
is
I
this
have something.
comment time?
Yes, I have something to say.
Okay.
It's important and it's relevant. We do have an upcoming charter review, so therefore that's something that we also need to start preparing ahead. That's gonna have a cost, because if there's anything that needs to be changed, you might decide there's nothing you wanna change in the charter. But if you do, we have to keep in mind, we have to be fiscal responsible, that we need to prepare and put some money aside. This is something that wasn't on budget for the questions, but at that point, we need to be prepared for that, and we do need to start working on that.
yeah, and
to
myself and the
keep in
clerk
mind.
have started talking about the charter review.
Yeah,
and
that's
how we're
something that
gonna
you
do
guys
it.
need to start.
Absolutely.
I have been talking to the mayor about it.
Yeah.
That was something, but now that he brings this up, I
Yeah.
started thinking, you know what? It seems more in those terms as
Yeah,
well, if
absolutely.
it's helpful.
Absolutely. Let me just say, for clarification, and then Councilperson Lightfoot, I'll go to you. The Vice Mayor seat, you guys, Section 2.02 out of our charter. Vice Mayor, at the first council meeting after each regular village election, the council shall elect one of its members as Vice Mayor with no less than 3 affirmative votes. During the absence or incapacity of the mayor, the Vice Mayor shall have all the powers, all the authority, all the duties, and all the responsibilities of the mayor. That's what's in the charter right now. So it has to be voted in with no less than 3 affirmative votes. So that's how we do it right now per charter. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I feel your pain, but I gotta go with Martin. The cost in itself, I've been on both sides of it. As a deputy manager, it was chaos. It was just total chaos. Every time you wanted something done in various cities, it's like the mayor and the vice mayor are bumping heads. It's an ugly transition. And the next thing you know, you've got mutiny on the bound. And you've heard that term in the cartoons. It's ugly. What we do in El Portel is the spirit of the village. And the spirit of the village is let the mayor rule. You shouldn't have to be butting heads with the second person. That's really what I learned in all my years of city management. Let the mayor rule, especially in small cities. Let the mayor rule. And I don't know, everybody got down to the cost, but I'm talking about the actuality. The mayor's already proven that we don't even give him a lot of hard times, because number one, he's intelligent. Number two, he tells it like it is. And number three, he runs a great meeting. Let the mayor be the mayor. And when he needs help, he reaches out to meet me at so-and-so, meet me at so-and-so, because we gotta look at this from the broader standpoint. let the mayor be the mayor and not deal with this thing that turns into a monster. We got the mayor with people that's wanting to stay put. Then we've got the vice mayor who wants to grab it, just want to hold on to it and give a problem. Next thing you know, you got conflict in the council, and we're a little village.
Right.
So my stance is always going to be, in El Portal, let's let the mayor be the mayor. Do you know during my term, they had to shut down my opponent more than one time? Am I right, Joe? Had to shut him down. And we didn't even have a vice mayor. But because he was the second highest vote, whatever, he wanted to rule over me or get dissension. Remember, I'm the first, not the first black female, I'm the first person that looks like me and has the stamina of me, except for my beloved Daisy Black, who was mayor several times. And that was the stance. Let the mayor be the mayor and not have this conflict start developing on this council. You can only, there's such a two-headed dragon, but we're not one. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Appreciate those words, well said. Yeah, you guys, so I think where we're at, and Councilperson Perella, I'm going to come to you if you want to say something right now. I agree 100% with what Councilperson Lightfoot Ward said, not only because I'm the mayor, because I've been there. Like I mean, you guys have an inkling of the way the previous councils have been, and there was a lot of arguments going on. There was it was totally different than it is now, you guys. So I lived through it. I'm just trying to, everything that we do, whether it's, all the stuff that myself and the manager work on, and everything that we're doing, like the stuff with the audit and like the CFO and the things like that, and our finances, like I'm just trying to clean up everything that was done wrong in the past, and I'm trying to set up everything for the future so that the future councils don't have to go through nonsense. Like I'm really trying to, I'm focusing on businesses, signage and the business court. Like I'm focusing on businesses, I'm focusing on infrastructure, and I'm just trying to focus on cleaning up things that have been done wrong in the past and setting up the future of El Portal so that they don't have to go through nonsense in the future. That's all I'm really trying to do. I would just ask, and Councilperson Pearl, I'm going to go to you in a second. I would just ask that we can pass this through committee and then see the cost. Have the village clerk go and get the actual cost is going to be, and see if we can even get it within the time limit. If when we go to the first meeting December for this, when we get to the December meeting, if we hear the cost and it's still $3,000 or whatever, then we just kill it right there at the December meeting. We can just kill it right there at the December meeting. I'll kill it right there at the December meeting. I'll pull it off the agenda when we do approve the agenda. You know what I mean? But let's at least get this through and get that information so that we could decide what we want to do at the council meeting. Because, and I'm not trying to force it down you guys, force it through for you guys, but I'm just trying to say, because time limit might be something if we wait and put it in January's committee meeting, and then we put it through, and then the cost is something that we could deal with, but then we might be too late. So let's just, I'm just asking that we push it through tonight. We get all the information that we need as far as time and as far as exact cost of how it would be on the 2022 ballot. Once we get to the December's full council meeting, December 14th, if the cost is still $2,000-$3,000, then we can just kill it right there, and we won't have to talk about it ever again. Councilperson Perillo.
Yes, hi. Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I'm with my colleague over here, Lightfoot Ward. I thought the same thing. There's no need, to me, I didn't think of it was needed to, it will be creating a little bit more, if, I don't know if it was trying to alleviate conflicts in the future, it was more like a top heading one position with another. Also, the turnout in the village, unfortunately, is bad. It's less than 5%. If anything, I was actually been thinking about the term limits, and I brought it up the last time we had this conversation about wanting to have staggered terms and all of that, even though I was in elected per se. There was an election for me to be here. I did have to collect, signatures twice. Got more than 20, or a little bit, over, around 20 signatures the two times. And most of the people was concerned about the term limits. And when I said term limits, I know there's a 2-year re-election time, but it's more of the council or the mayor position being there for too long. So, and being that we, are in the situation we are, and, always, concerned about the budget and all of this, I don't know whether it's a good idea instead of having a 2-year terms, instead of 2-year terms, have it a 4-year terms. So that will actually, put us in the position that we don't have to be like putting aside this $10,000 or whatever that is the election cost and have it every 4 years. And maybe the terms of the mayor and the council being, if we go to 4 years, then let's say 3-year terms, so that's 12 years. That's, I think, more than enough. That's what I got from a lot of people, that for a small village, these positions should rotate a little bit more and not, and if anything. But about the vice mayor position, I think it's fine the way we have it, that we know, between us, who is the one that has a better, probably, not knowledge, but, I don't know how to say it, but it will be the next, to the mayor. It's my only concern here.
Thank you. Thank you
What I
very
have
much.
to say about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, good. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilperson Farella. I hear you. Like I said, I don't disagree with anybody else here. I've just seen how nasty it was in the past, and I'm just trying to set up things so they don't have to go through that in the future. But like I said, I have no problem with that. I just think that, I would just ask that we just base this off of direct knowledge and information. Which is why I'm asking that we decide this at the full council meeting in December. Like I said, I'll kill it myself if the price is still the same. For what you said, Councilperson Perella, I do not necessarily disagree with you. That right there is something that we really have to just think out, so we do it the right way. Because so one thing you have to kind of think about, first of all, if you're talking about, let's say that if we go to term limits, and then you have to remember that, and you just said it as far as turnout.
Right.
You don't want to get to the end of a term and there's 2 people on the council because the other people can't run anymore.
Right.
And nobody else wanted to run for the council. It's not the thing about it is the reason why term limits and stuff work so much at the national level, at the federal level, at the state level, because everybody's running for these seats.
Right.
El Portal is totally different. I mean, before, we were blessed by Councilperson Martin or Vice Chair Martin right now and Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. It was just 3 of us.
Right. It was going to be 2 of you.
And it was going to be, it was going to be 2 of us. It was going to be 2 of us.
To do it.
And even when they ran, it's not like there was 3 people running for their seats. So if we term people out, you might have it in the future to where people are termed out so they can't run, and then there's not enough people running to replace them. So we really need to think about this deeply before we pass something like that. Yeah. And what happened last time is not something that is an abnormality. I've been on the council for 12 years. I've had an opponent 1 time. Mayor Cabillos had an opponent when she ran against Daisy Black.
Yeah.
Or she ran against somebody.
What about rotating
Mathis,
the position, though?
Mathis never had an opponent. Linda Marcus never had. None of us, we all went unopposed because nobody else really wants to run in the village, you guys. So that's just, we have to really think about that when we're talking about term limits, because we were one person away this past time from us not being able to do no meetings.
Right.
We would have had less than 3 people. We needed at least 3 people for a quorum.
No, and like I said, what it was more concerned about the people is having the same mayor sitting for too long. So maybe I just learned Miami Shores, for example, they rotate. Even, the mayor can stay still in the council, but still the mayor position rotates, and then at least, maybe, do, like I said, if it would go to a four-year term instead of 2-year term, have a, 3-year term, 3 terms, and then, rotate the mayor, and I don't know. It's it's something that, again, like I said, it was something that I actually, came up, was brought up to me while I was collecting the signatures and from residents.
What we could do now, let me say about the Miami Shores. I don't like the Miami Shores way of doing things. I don't like the Miami Shores way of doing things. I think that because to get elected, so Miami Shores is they run, and the person who gets the most votes is the mayor. The person who gets the second most votes is the vice mayor, and then the next 3 highest vote getters get on the council. I think that the way we do it is better, because if I'm messing up as mayor, somebody should run against me.
Right.
Because I'm messing up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a popularity contest where I just might get in because, you know what I mean? Because, like, not enough people, or just name recognition or something like that. It's like, nah, Mayor Nickerson's messing up. Man, I'm running against Mayor Nickerson. Vice Mayor Urban's doing good. Vice Chair right now, Martin's doing good. Councilperson Perella's doing good. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward's doing good. Man, the mayor's messing up. I'm running against the mayor. I like the way we do that. We can revisit the term limits in the future, Councilperson Perella. I think that one way we could do it is, let's say if we do something like 4-year terms, 2, 3. It could be 2 or 3. I'll say this is 2 right now for sake of like math. 4-year terms. Your limit is 2 terms. Therefore, 8 years would be your limit, right? We can say something like, okay, because this would have to go before the voters also. Let's say the voters voted 3. So the voters voted through in 2022, then it takes effect in 2024 election, and we could say that in 2024 election that the mayor seat 3 and seat 1 and seat 3 are up. And then we could say that the term for seat 2 and seat 4 don't start until the 2026 election. We can say their 8-year term doesn't start until 2026. That way they're 2 years lagging behind the other 3 seats. And that way when the first 3 seats are termed out, you still have 2 people on for at least 2 years that have been on the previous council, and that way you don't have all new people.
Like in a staggered,
like a staggered thing.
term.
But we ain't talking about
We're not
that.
talking about
So
that.
right now, exactly. So right now, if anybody has anything left to say, yes or no, and if not, I'll ask for a motion in a second.
I'll move that this item dies in committee or whatever the proper thing is, let's leave it like it is. I move that we leave the process the way it is.
All right, we have a move by Councilman Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Perella. We're gonna go to Vice Mayor Urban before we
All right,
vote.
I started a clock on myself here. So, okay. So it sounds like Mayor Nickerson, your concern is that the way it is lends itself to potential drama. Not even going so far as corruption, but just drama and conflict. Okay, that's a good word that keeps coming up. Because there could be favors and expected favors, this type of thing, right? You should be voting for me because I voted for you to be vice mayor type thing, right? And it sounds like Dr. Lightfoot Ward's concern from her experience in the past is that if we change it to having someone vote, now you're going to have someone tempted to inject conflict into the council where maybe there wasn't conflict already, right? And so the old adage of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it sounds like from Mayor Nickerson's experience, it is a little bit broken. And it sounds like from Dr. Lightfoot Ward's experience, well, it was previously broken and it got fixed kind of a thing. And so it's a bit of a catch-22 in terms of trying to predict which one really will result in less drama in the future, because both ways apparently have created their own drama, right? And so now we're trying to guess how it's going to go in the future to decide if we should change. Now, saying that, I will say that when I came onto this council, I was very encouraged by our governmental structure in that each seat is designed to be its own, you're your own entity up here. You get to represent yourself. And if the residents decide you're representing them in a good way, they re-elect you. If the residents don't, then they put up a challenger against you, right? So I was very encouraged that it really is kind of one person, one seat up here. It seemed, I was glad to see that, because I was like, okay, this is kind of how it's supposed to be. I like the sunshine restrictions, even though it's designed to protect people who are already operating in the shade, basically. So aside from that, the idea of the sunshine laws are great, you know, and they really do aid in everybody remaining their own separate entity, right? So in that regard, if we did switch to this, I think that we would want to mirror, I think the discussion about term limits and terms comes into play, because we do want to structure that so that it makes sense for turnout, right? So if we change the vice mayor's seat to being elected by the public, I think we would at the same time want to be accomplishing that the term limits, the terms go to 4-year from 2-year, and that I think the whole council should be turned over actually on the presidential years, because that is going to get you the turnout and the interest. And so I think if, as a small village, we can avoid the off-year elections, that would actually be long-term beneficial, because people, obviously, you said 5% on the turnout rate, or less than, but is that for presidential year? I think we get a bump up to almost 10%. So, and then realize that, you know, a lot of the residents here aren't able to vote, right? And so there, you know, we're already essentially with unrepresented residents because of their legal status, right? So we already have a large unrepresented population, unless those of us on the council are choosing to represent those folks who live, our neighbors who are not legal residents, right? So, so having said that, I think that the two discussions do make sense together. I think if we decide to do the vice mayor as an elected position, then we should also be switching to presidential years, 4-year terms to increase turnout. I think we should consider that anyway. And then I now am on the fence and not sure what to do in light of Mayor Nickerson's comments about it needing to be fixed, and Dr. Lightfoot Ward's comments about it having already been fixed. So.
All right, thank you. We do have a motion. We do have a second. Let me just say before I ask for a vote, all I was asking is that we move this to full council so that we get time to gather the information. And then if we don't like the information once it's gathered, if it's still the same, we could kill it at full council. That's the only thing that I was asking. But we do have a motion and second on the table to kill this in committee. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Member Lightfoot Ward. Member Perella. Member Erbaum.
No.
Vice Chair Martin.
No.
Chair Nickerson.
No.
Okay, motion passes 3-0.
Motion fails.
I mean, failed.
Do I have a motion to move this to the December council meeting? With the understanding that we're going to gather the information, the detailed information, and then at December council meeting, we'll make the final decision then to whether we're going to keep it or we can kill it right then and there.
I would
Can we
move.
also make that, amend that up, yeah,
You go. I think
the
you got it.
motion and add the 4-year terms, yeah, to the.
We
Same thing I was discussing. We're talking about, that's something that we did not budget for.
Yeah.
This is something we didn't, and it's gonna be, I don't wanna get into your emotions because you guys are the ones doing the job here and you're doing a great job. But remember, it's gonna be over $1,000 regardless. This is not gonna be something under, and it was not budgeted for. So if we start adding, it's gonna be, let's say 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, because that's a double question. That's not one question right there.
So that was going to be my pause on this. So I'm inclined to say, no, let's just leave it as it is because of the number that I've heard already. And I don't think that making it a position that other people vote for necessarily decreases the instances of like conflict among the council. It's just a personality issue. There's going to be conflict whether or not that person is elected or not. It could be a conflict with a council member. It could be 3 council members that group up together. Neither one is the vice mayor or mayor and decide to vote together. So I'm not sure it solves the issue or insulates us from the issue. The money is the problem for me. I can look and engage in this activity to see how much this one question, but once we start adding these additional questions, that money racks up, and I'm less inclined to even engage in that.
Mr. Mayor, I move a recall of that vote.
Go ahead.
I need a
Councilperson.
second.
Which vote are you recalling?
I want a recall of the vote.
Oh, okay.
I need a second.
I'm sorry.
She wants to recall the vote.
Tell me what,
Recall the
tell me,
vote.
tell me
No,
what's
it's,
right.
The rule on that is to ask for the vote to be reconsidered, you have to have voted in the prevailing side. You voted on the side that did not prevail, so you cannot move that.
Let me just chime in and say this. The only reason why Councilperson Perella, I would say that we shouldn't add this onto this right now is because we didn't even discuss it to the point to where we know what we're going to do. Like, are we going to do 2 4-year terms, 3 4-year terms? Are we going to do staggered terms? Are we going to do off-year elections? Like we haven't even had that. Like, you brought it up, which we appreciate, but we haven't even had a discussion of the details to even know what we're voting in. At least for the vice mayor seat, it's pretty simple. It's like, are we going to continue to do it as a council, or are we going to send it to the village residents? And that's the only reason why I would say that, we can't add that amendment, because we don't even know the details of the amendment that we would be adding right now. We didn't go through it like that in detail. We had the first vote go through. Do I have a motion and a second to move this to move the vice mayor question to the December council meeting?
Yes, even just to get public engagement, I move to bring this discussion of the vice mayor's position as an elected position to the full council meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson, Member Lightfoot Ward? No. Member Perella? No. Member Urbom?
Yes.
Vice Chair Martin?
Yes.
And Chair Nickerson?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
And like I said, we're just gonna, Madam Clerk, if you can get the exact,
It's gonna be over.
if you can get the exact details, maybe
That,
Alright.
and again, don't get discouraged because we're outdated on
yeah.
we need
got
to
you.
do the charter review.
Yeah.
It's something we need to look forward to.
And so just bring us those numbers back to the December meeting, and we'll decide right there. Like I said, I'll kill it in, but when we do approve the agenda, the numbers are still the same. Once we get our agenda packet that week before.
We'll also have clear deadline.
Yes. So it's deadline and cost. We're gonna look at.
Yeah, once I ask for the cost, it also comes with the deadlines.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Moving on to G3. All right, you guys. So I brought this up. And I know it's a lot of information, so I'm not gonna force you guys to go through everything right now. But I do want to see if you guys have any questions. But I've had this on the committee for a while. So I just want to ask the question: is a village-wide text program something you guys want to do or not want to do? If you guys don't want to do it, that's fine. We can kill it in committee if you guys, but the question the reason I have this on, and you guys see I have 2 examples of different things. So I have the PowerPoint example, and then I have the Excel file example of different companies and costs and what they offer and different things like that, the details. I also want to give you all, if this is something which I think moving forward with technology, as I said in the State of the Village address, people wake up in the morning, they don't wake up and get their coffee or get their orange juice and say, I need to check the village website. That just doesn't happen. But like I said in the State of the Village address, if you get a text message, you do look down at your phone. So I think El Portal needs to move into the future when it comes to technology, and we need to have some type of text notification program so that if there is an emergency or anything like that, we can text the residents and they can look down in their phone, they can get the information. We can do it for emergencies. We can do it for both emergencies and non-emergencies, but we need to move into the future. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to get a text program. The reason why I have this on here is you guys don't have to pick which text program tonight, because I wanted to give you guys also a chance. If you want to do a text program, you guys can also, between now and the December meeting, you guys have a lot of time. If you want to do a text program and you want to research text programs on your own, the way these are here, you guys can also research text programs and bring your ideas to the full council meeting, and then we can decide which one we think is the best going forward. So my overall question is, do we want a text program, period? If we want a text program, I think we should vote this through committee, and then everybody has time to look through the ones that I have here, even though I've had them on committees in the past, on the committee in the past. Also, it gives you a chance to do your own research, and you might find a text program you might like even better than the ones that I provided for you. And if that's the case, we can bring that to the December council meeting and go there. So,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
I get so many of these things already. People just send these things all the time, blasting every time I look around. It's not even something I'm interested in, but it's a text messaging program, and for whatever reason, I'm on it, and it's just too much. To me, it's just too much. Matter of fact, what's our thing that comes on? Neighbor something it's called? Next door.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's the only thing I thought about, Mayor, when I saw this. I said, that blew me away. What's it called again?
Next door.
Next door. Every time I turn around, and I don't even know what to do with all that information. That's just too much information. And now you're talking about us having one too? I'm not even asking about the cost, because I'm trying to stay open-minded, but I'm just reality checking myself. Reality check says I get a lot of, next door is one. Something from my cable company is another. The next one is the emergency preparedness. Why? Because I work for the federal government. Oh my God, I get these things all the time, and they really don't do anything but inform, but it's not the inform I want to have. It's just coming in at you, invading my space and using up my cell phone, costing my cell phone. So Mayor, I appreciate your innovation, but it's already broken to me. You should be able to be selective on these things, but once they start in, it's either you keep them or you delete them. I mean, literally say, stop doing it. So that's just my take on it, folks. They haven't perfected the system enough for me to even enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lightfoot Ward. Let me just say that, this is, I hear what you're saying about Nextdoor. This is not like Nextdoor. Nextdoor is open where anybody can comment and things like that. It's different. This will be coming, this is one way. There's no conversation happening with this text message program. This is coming from the Village of El Portal government to the residents, and all they can do is read it. They can't comment, they can't respond, all they can do is read it. It's strictly for information purposes. So it's a one-way, so all of these are one-way programs. So you're not gonna have the constant, bling, 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 of people answering and responses. So it's not gonna be like that, because it's one way, and we'll send things out when we feel like we deem it necessary that our villagers should know. And another thing is, unlike like you said, and I hear what you're saying, Councilor Lightfoot Ward, unlike your cable company and things like that, your cable company sends things out to all of its individuals who who are on the cable company, who are part of the cable company, who have subscribed to the text program. This right here is strictly for El Portal residents. So you're not going to get just like fluff text messages. that don't apply to you. This is going to be from the Village of El Portal to Village of El Portal residents. So every text is going to be a text that's important to the Village of El Portal residents. It's not just fluff text like, hey, we have a new, thing going on in the month of December. Save your money, apply now. It's not going to be none of that type of stuff. This is strictly from the Village of El Portal government to the El Portal residents. So there's no fluff texts, and every text that comes from the Village of El Portal resident comes from the Village of El Portal government. The Village of El Portal residents, they will deem it necessary to read that because it will appeal to them and it applies to them because it's only going to El Portal residents. It's not going to anybody else but El Portal residents.
Is it gonna cost anything?
Yes.
So it depends on which one we decide to choose.
Yes. The answer is yes, okay.
It depends on which one we
Come
decide
on.
to choose. I mean,
Okay,
you
The
have,
answer is yes, but still, the answer is yes, there is a cost, and the other side of that cost is, does it impact the user's phone cost as well? The end user cost as well.
it depends on which one you guys choose. I gave you guys one, and the Office 365 is $1 a month.
Now, the technology keeps going up. Now it's $1.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gave you guys 6 choices in between the 2 different documents, and it's spelled out in detail. So, it's okay if you guys don't want it. But just like at one point, email didn't exist. There was just regular mail. At one point, social media didn't exist. Like, we have to continue to progress in society.
Let's do a trial subscription.
We have to continue. Well, all right. Well, that sounds great, but to do that, I need this to be passed through to the full council meeting.
I'm trying to get this thing for you now.
I'm
Let's do a trial.
You know,
Let's say
I'm
yes
trying
and
to
do a
pass it
trial
through.
sus-
And you,
trial subscription.
Vice Chair Martin.
I think it's a worthwhile thing to explore, especially when we talk about emergency situations that might arise that we can't even conceive of right now. But it might be very helpful to let somebody know if something were occurring on a certain cross street or something like that. I think the utility is definitely there. And the pricing is actually a lot lower than I anticipated when I did review the document. So I think it's a good idea and you're on the right track. And I do hear Councilman Lightfoot Ward in that I think we have to be very judicious when we use it because that will be a reason. I know I have signed up for certain things and I have immediately removed myself from that list because I don't want to get texts every single day about topics that are not necessarily emergent or interesting to me. So I think we have to be judicious in its usage, but the pricing looked reasonable and I think the utility is obviously there.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Martin.
I think it's a great idea, so I'm all for it.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Councilperson Perella. Vice Mayor Irwin.
Okay, so notes I put here, one-way yes, but as Dr. Lightfoot Ward was saying, we all receive one-way texts that annoy the living crap out of us, right? And so what I wrote down here was crying wolf, right? So if we use it too much, then people are going to tune it out and ignore it as soon as they see it, right? And next door might be better off being called, boo, I'm on your porch, want a cat? so we don't want to be down that route, right? So I don't know about next door. It feels like they're on my front porch. So here's what I put. If we had, I think we could get away with a basic plan on a trial, and what we use it for is meeting notices, right? So when
Yeah, let me just chime in real quick, Vice Mayor Irwin. Yeah, we can use it for regular, so like you guys, when I came up with this idea, and I came up with it in the Sustainability Resiliency Task Force, how we kind of came up with this. We came up with it because for emergencies initially, it was going to be for emergencies, and the police department could use it to be like, this and that, or like floods and natural disasters, because it floods a lot, back here in like certain parts of El Portal, like be careful with this, the flood level's going up here and this and that. So it was for emergencies initially. But to your point, I said, you know what? I said, depending on which one we choose, like that, we could use it for regular things, not everyday things, right, Vice Chair Martin or Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, but we could use it for council meeting tonight in Village Hall on like a Tuesday mid-afternoon. Because a lot of people say like,
Right.
oh, we didn't even know there was a meeting.
Or, excuse me, or the stormwater drainage project started.
Exactly.
So you don't get stopped in the street.
Exactly.
So resident asking what it is.
Exactly.
So,
Right, so to avoid crying wolf and using it for regular things, so meeting notices actually, I think that when the clerk has the agenda, for example, posted to the website, then we put a meeting notice with a link to the website. For safety, crime watch, and traffic issues, right? If they're emergent and relevant, then that might be something that the police department has access to notify the public. And then hurricane season, of course, again, a link to, for example, Hughes' website, something like this, right? So use it to reinforce the information we have available specifically through the website, but something that is emergent and relevant, right? So if we use it in that way, I think we can get onto a lower cost plan and it becomes something that the residents actually find a benefit in. So I'm also definitely in favor of this.
Thank you. That being said, do I have any more comments or questions from the committee? And if I do not have none, do I have a motion and a second to move this to the December 14th council meeting? And within that time, you guys, we'll look at this information, we'll digest it, and if you guys, can do your own research, and you guys can bring also any text notification services that you guys want to at that meeting. If we get to that meeting and you guys all have changed your mind, decide you don't want to do it, we can kill it at that meeting. It's not a big deal, you guys. But we need to get it out of committee, though. That's what I'm trying to do. Do I have a motion and a second? For
This lady says, move it.
Move by.
second.
Did you
Call
say
it
okay?
now.
Move by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, second by Councilperson Perrella. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Member Lightfoot Ward,
Yes.
Member Nickerson,
Yes.
Member Urban,
Yes.
Vice Chair Perrella,
Yes.
Chair Mar. No,
It's a
this is the.
different
Oh, I'm
committee.
looking
It's
at
all-
the other one. I'm writing notes.
It's
Sorry.
okay, we'll try again, if you
Sure.
don't mind.
We're good. We're good.
You're still in the same, anyways. All of you is one vote anyhow.
Well, look. If
Look,
you're
let's
talking
do it
about if Martin's the chairperson, that's definitely a step up. So I'm all. She does a wonderful
It's
job.
one
I'm
vote
all
anyhow,
for it.
everybody. So I can. Let's do it one more time, please. Member Lightfoot Ward,
Yes.
Member Perrella,
Yes.
Member Urban,
Yes.
Vice Chair Martin,
Yes.
Chair Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5.
Thank you very much, you guys. Thank you. Let me tell you guys something. Thank you so much. Like we're really moving the village forward. Like really, in a lot of things that we're changing more than it used to be. It used to be so different back in the days. Let me just leave it like that. All right, we're moving on. Positive energy, positive vibes only. Positive thoughts. All right, here we go. Next is good and welfare. If anybody has anything they want to say, they can come up 3 minutes, name and address for the record, and the floor is yours. I'm seeing and hearing none. We're going to move on now. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, does anybody have any last comments or questions that they have to make? You guys good? Everything good? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, second by Councilperson Perrella. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none. The Administration and Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 is adjourned at 9:21 p.m.